Sorry about that, y'all. We had a little bit of a glitch, but we got it fixed. All right. So look, y'all, it's been a rough day. I ain't gonna lie to you. I done had what we refer to as a rough one. So we're gonna get through today's show because we got a lot to talk about. A lot of interesting tidbits of factual information and news. So we're gonna cover the news tonight. Hey, Val Wills, I see you. Thank you for checking in. So let's get this party started, y'all. All right, all right, all right. I see you, Regina Freeman. Thank you for checking in. Big Nate is in the building. Y'all get with it, brother. Okay, so we are, and it's a damn shame we got to count it like this. We are 34 days, 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 15 minutes. Yeah, 57. All right, forget it. Look, I got a countdown clock. There y'all go. Now, we can keep up with how much time we got left before this is all over. 34 days, 15 hours, 56 minutes, and 52 seconds right now before we get the opportunity to experience. I ain't going to say something new because it ain't going to be new. uh, yeah, anyway. So the thing is, and this is something I'm just finding out, y'all's President Twitler, Colt 45, he can't move back to Mar-a-Lago. That's supposed to be his new residence. And apparently he signed some papers back in the 90s that said that he could never use that place as a residence. It would always have to be a resort. So the people who live in Florida have basically stated they don't want him there. He can only stay there 21 days at a time. And I believe it's 7 days consecutively and 21 days at a time. I don't know what the break period is in there, but the funny thing about that is he also can't go back to New York. Well, the people in New York don't want him. I believe it was Andrew Cuomo told him he dared him to come there and walk down Fifth Avenue. He apologized for that comment some time ago, but I kind of know what he mean. And at the end of the day, he's got a lot of problems. There's a Manhattan district attorney named Cy Vance, who now also has it in for Donald Trump. So now he's under investigation, and apparently there was some paperwork that was supposed to turn over that he didn't, and they're digging into his business dealings as on top of the thing that they're trying to do. The New York district attorney is now on him about. So he's got those two cases alone. Now the funny thing is, here's a guy who claims he's ready to start trying to get in the White House for 2024. He'll be lucky if he ain't in the big house in 2024, because they coming to get him. They are appointing a special task force to investigate his business dealings there in New York. And we know that his taxes are a mess because he's increased the value on some of the properties in order to make them look like they're worth more money. But then he devalues them. He values them and devalues them according to what he needs to do. That's going to catch up to him. Now, if y'all remember, we did a whole show on his lineage all the way back to his great grandfather, and they've been shysters from day one, which is how they got all their money. I mean, what are you gonna do? I ain't gonna say I blame him, but New York is gearing up to get him. But because they have generally they don't go after sitting presidents, lucky for him. And I do recall them calling him a unnamed co-conspirator in one of the other case that they were investigating. What was it with they had so many investigations a few years ago with the other special prosecutor when he was still in office. So I think he's going to have more legal problems than he know what to do with. But the crazy part is everybody is everybody is pretty confident that the money that he's raising right now, based on the keeping everybody all up in arms about this election being stolen, he's constantly got people sending him money. These got to be some of the stupidest people on the planet. You got to be brain dead to be still sending this guy money, hoping that he's going to somehow turn this election around. Not gonna happen. Forget about it. It's over. The Electoral College has spoken. Not that the people hadn't already spoken. And now they're saying that on January 6th, he's going to have some of his minions try and pull it when the Senate has to go ahead and do the confirmation. Well, all I can say is good luck with that. So today, apparently, he went in on Mitch McConnell for congratulating Joe Biden. So he's pissed off about that, too. So now he's mad at Mitch McConnell. He's mad at everybody. But there's somebody in the White House that should probably be mad at him. And I'm going to be real interested to see all the times that we've been on this show and we talked about, and I've talked about how the fallout from all of this stuff that's going on with COVID-19 hadn't hit the fan yet. Prime example, apparently there was the White House security chief today, we found out, has had his leg amputated. Let's see, he had his right leg amputated and his big toe on his left foot amputated due to complications of COVID-19. Now, here we have an administration where they don't wear masks in the White House and everybody's walking around like, with this big idea that, you some kind of a big guy, some type of macho hero if you don't wear a mask, which is the most ridiculous, asinine thing you could think of. But these guys are walking around, no mask, doing whatever. This guy caught COVID, and now he's lost his leg and one of his big toes, well, his other big toe. Now, the family of this guy, they said that he didn't want anybody to talk about it. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Creedy Bailey, I believe it is. His family, and they didn't want nobody to talk about it. They wanted to keep it all under wraps. But the information got out because we know everything that goes on in the White House leaks, because the White House is leaky like a big old wooden ship. And the information got out. And so this guy's been in the hospital since September. And he's now still in rehab. And it kind of reminds me of the story that we did several months ago with a good friend of mine who had spent 75 days in the hospital and who also had to go through rehab. Fortunately, she came away with all of her limbs. But the point still is that everybody still wants to play like this is a joke. And that, I don't understand what part of the game people are playing with or what they think it is with this doggone, with the way everything is playing out. Well, this guy, like I said, he's still in rehab and he's got a lot to deal with as far as this is concerned. Now, I know that he is also, by being a federal employee, my question is, does Donald Trump help him out? They're saying that he has to have his house remodeled now to fit his to accommodate his handicap, and needless to, they got a mountain of medical bills, and a whole lot more. It's just it's like with this regime, because I refuse to call it an administration. It's like it's never ending. It's constantly something else. It's more. Every time you turn around, it's something new coming out of it all. Dennis McCullum says he's going to run this fiasco as long as he can up until 2024, scamming his base with a speculation of running in 2024, just lining his pockets. But you know what? The thing is this, with that pocket lining thing, he can't do anything with that money. That's the crazy part about it. He can collect as much money as he wants, but if he touches any of it for personal use, he's going to jail. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He's already skating on very, very thin ice. And the only reason I say that, if he was anybody else, he'd be going to jail. But Donald Trump is a master at skating and sliding by when these type of things come on. It's like a bait and switch. He's like a magician. But the problem is that all the people around him are not. And they are the ones who are going to pay the price for his shenanigans. In fact, I'm going to be, you heard it here first. I believe that one or more of his children are going to pay very heavily for his shenanigans. He's going to cost his children their freedom. because they are definitely in bed with him in regard to these financial dealings, and their names are going to come up. And when they do, there's going to be more investigations. And I think this is going to be one big rabbit hole. And the further you dig and the deeper it goes, there's going to be more people involved, people that you never even saw coming. And at the end of the day, somebody going to pay for all of this. The people are going to make them pay. And I do believe that somewhere in there, I'm going to say at least 25%. I don't want to say half. I'm going to say at least 25% of the people who support him right now are going to become disenfranchised. Going to become disenchanted with him, and they're going to be ready to cut loose once they start to find out the actual truths. Now, they're going to keep claiming this deep state and everything. Oh, it's deep state. They're just trying to get him. They want him down. They want to take him down. Well, he took himself down. Because as bad as I hate to admit it, if it were not for COVID-19, Donald Trump would still be the president. I don't like that idea. I don't like the fact that that is a strong possibility, but it's the truth. COVID-19 is the only reason Donald Trump is not still president of this country. And that, to me, is a very scary notion. And it just goes to show you where people's heads really are. Alejandro Aguilar says he can hire people that he owes money to as political advisors, campaign managers, community organizers to pay them off. Yes, he can try that. That is damn near the equivalent of money laundering, but he can try it. And as a matter of fact, Alejandro, here's the problem. That very same practice is what's got him partially in trouble right now. The non-for-profit that they were running out of New York, apparently, he paid his daughter, I believe it was $700,000 or something like that, as a consultant. So I could be wrong on the number. Don't quote me on that. But there is a number that he paid his daughter. His daughter was on the payroll as a consultant to the non-for-profit, so she got a check out of that. So yeah, and they've always, in fact, him and his father had gotten into trouble back in the 70s for basically using the government as a slush fund with their properties, where they were basically paying themselves to do government business in their own property. It was a big ass sham. And so this is kind of like the same thing. His grandfather did it. So they're not new to any of this. Their family has a history of this sort of behavior. And this is recorded information. This is not like this is some speculative idea. All of these things are actually what take place and have taken place. And it's not even a stretch to believe that it could be possible. So, yeah. That whole thing is going to blow up in their faces very quickly. In fact, if he's not careful, they're going to be homeless in a couple more days because from what I understand, Melania had been to Mar-a-Lago this week, supposedly overseeing renovations for them to move there, but they are legally they can't move to Mar-a-Lago. They have the city of Palm Beach, they have a contract that he signed some years ago that he agreed that he would not. He either had to leave it as a residence or turn it into a resort. And he chose a resort because apparently at the time he needed money. And so in changing it to a resort, it set him up automatically for giving up his right to forever move into that property. Now he can move to Palm Beach, but he can't move to Mar-a-Lago. So he's going to either have to fight legally. He's going to have to fight that thing, which I don't really see that happening because he's going to have, he filed 50, 60, 70 lawsuits in regard to this so-called stolen election, which was not stolen. That is an incredible waste of money. Sadly, most of that money came out of our pockets as taxpayers. And what makes it all even worse is that this guy loves the courtroom. And I think that that's going to change soon because his time in the courtroom is about to be criminal rather than civil. And that alone is enough to shake anybody. Ask me how I know. So apparently, as far as the gentleman who has lost his leg, his chief of security, who lost his leg and his toe, there have been attempts to get information from people in regard to the situation, and nobody has spoken or wants to say anything about it. And I suspect not, because even though the family didn't want it to get out, I don't think Trump wants to talk about it either. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm actually shocked that nobody died in that entire situation. You had all of those super spread events that Trump kept giving, and the only person that died that we're aware of so far is Herman Cain, the tried and true footstool and minion of Colt 45. Now, I got a question for y'all right quick. And I'm curious about something on this vaccine situation. How come none of the people who keep telling us how great this vaccine is have taken it yet publicly? I didn't see Joe Biden run up there to take it. I haven't seen Donald Trump run up there to take it. I haven't seen any of these governors run out there and take it. What's happening? Now, they're giving it to all of the healthcare workers up front. And I'm still taken aback a bit by the display that they put on the other day when they started giving out these shots, and they had the black woman sitting there and the black doctor that administered a shot to her. If that wasn't an ad campaign, there wasn't one. That was an absolute show. That was for them to be able to say that, look, we're black, we're taking it, so you can too. I'm sorry. It's just too obvious. Now, I just don't believe it was that big of a coincidence. Nothing is done like this without some sort of thought behind it. It had to be. Dennis McCullum, you are silly. My man, he said, was the toe from the same foot as the leg? No. Yeah. Anyway, I need jokes right now. That's a good one. Thank you. And so I'm curious as to why the people who are in power, the ones who are trying to convince everybody else that it's a good idea to take this vaccine, haven't done it, and done it publicly so that the rest of the world. Why didn't, in fact, why didn't they sit the governor of New York up there and let him be the first one to get the shot? Why hasn't our president jumped up there and been the first one on national television to get the shot? You know, I'm just, these are the type of things that I think about. It boggles the mind. You know, it's so easy to trick people. But one of my favorite quotes is that it's easier to trick people than it is to prove to people that they've been tricked. Kind of reminds me of Trump supporters. You couldn't prove to those people right now that they've had the carpet snatched out from under them for nothing in the world. You couldn't pay them. Because in their minds, there's a deep state, and Democrats are sleeping with little kids and drinking their blood and worshiping the devil. And that's all that matters to them. The rest of it, common sense has gone completely off the ranch. It's just gone out the window. And for the life of me, you know, and what's even more scary is that there are 74 million of these people who follow this nonsense and ride this Trump train. And they're going to ride it until it derails. And trust me when I tell you, it's coming. Now, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but we've rearranged things in the studio and made some changes. We're looking for a little bit better look. Let me know how you like it. Give me some thumbs up or something. Let me know what you think about the new setup. It's not complete yet, but we're getting there. And we're just trying to make things a little bit better, give it a little more clarity, make it a little more pleasing to the eye, and keep providing the good information. You know, of course, we gotta work from the facts. Of course, I'm gonna throw my opinion in there every now and then. Y'all know that, but you know, we gotta work from the facts. Now, to the topic of tonight's show. Finally, the Major Baseball League, the they have finally decided that they are going to recognize Negro baseball leagues that came up in America. Now, I want y'all to know that there's a couple of areas where this is concerned that I take issue. One, I'm glad that Major League Baseball has finally decided to show love to the Negro baseball leagues. The thing is this: we literally had to wait until 1947 for Jackie Robinson to break into the majors, or should I say, break into white baseball. And at the time, he was one of the best to ever do it. And he was a young rookie. And there were those who came before him who literally would have run circles around any white team they had played. And I think what disturbs me is that here we already knew there were great players. Well, Major League Baseball has decided finally that they're going to recognize the stats from these players, which effectively means that they're going to have to damn near rewrite history, because the people who they recognized in their books for the most this, the hardest hit that, the furthest hit baseball, and so on and so forth, all that's got to change now. And in that is for the ones that aren't just legendary, but actually are statistically correct. Because like our ancestors, records were not necessarily kept the way we would have liked to, which is why black people have such a difficult time tracing our lineage. We know that because of the view of those in Major League Baseball and in white society, they could care less many times about any of those truths. And in fact, like baseball, like football, like many other sports and other areas of profession that don't involve balls and don't involve entertainment, there are a lot of black folks who have been left out of the mix. One of the things that annoys the hell out of me is that it takes for us to feel some level of validation because white people finally decided to recognize the truth. That for me is a problem. Now, I'm not saying, because in fact there was a statement made today, and I apologize for not having the exact statement and exact facts and who said it in front of me. But the statement was made that they never used or never wanted to use white baseball or white people in baseball as a measuring stick for what blacks did in baseball. We had the best baseball players on the planet during that time. In fact, we have a gentleman who is on our feed right now, Mr. Marvin Freeman, Major League Baseball pitcher. I went to school with that guy. Great dude. Marvin, thank you for checking in. I appreciate you, my brother. And here is a man who has played in the major leagues for years. It bothers me that we had to wait this long. Why in 2020, when Jackie Robinson entered baseball in 1947, why is it in 2020 that we finally get the recognition that should have been given all along? And in fact, if they had put black people in the same arena with the Babe Ruths of the world and the others, see, you got to remember, they wouldn't have the fame that they recognize today. They wouldn't have the recognition that they do today, because there would be other faces in those places and they would look like you and I. And they know it. Well, again, the record books are about to change, because Now you're going to have numbers going up that almost seem unbelievable. There were great, great players in that time who they refused to give recognition to or an opportunity to play. And we all know why. The excuse was because they black. But the fact is, because they'd have got their ass kicked and they know it. See, the Willie Mays, the Satchel Paige, and the Josh Gibsons, the cool Papa Bells, you couldn't do nothing with them dudes. Black folks couldn't do nothing with them dudes. See, this is not, and Marvin Freeman said, trying to toss us another cookie. That's about what this amounts to. And the crazy part is that, and this is where I'm gonna go with this show. I sometimes wonder, I know that people like Medgar Evers and Dr. King had great intentions. Their intent was that we get equal opportunities. Well, the fact is we still often don't get equal opportunities. Not really. But the problem is that when we decided to integrate, we made the mistake of giving up our own. It wasn't that we didn't want equality. We didn't want to be able to go to the same places and not have to step off the sidewalk and not have to look down when a white man approached. We just wanted the ability to be free and mind our own business. But in fact, once the doors of white society became open to us, we forgot about our own and we walked away from our own. Some of the communities, the businesses in those communities suffered. We stopped spending money with our own people and we started spending it with white folks because we made some critical mistakes in thinking that white people's ice is colder. And unfortunately, for example, what would it have been like if black folks had kept the Negro Baseball League and kept on playing the way we had been playing and let them do what they want to do and we go on and do what we want to do? We have a problem, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but we have a problem with our validation. We make the mistake of thinking sometimes that in order to be validated, we have to be accepted by others. And in fact, that's just not true. And we've talked about validation on this show before. And I'll tell anybody, don't use other people as your measuring stick for who you are and what you want to be and your own greatness. Be your own measuring stick. The fact is, if you did something great today, you should feel accomplished, of course, but you should also be afraid. Because when you move about into your next endeavor, you have to top yourself. You don't have to top that guy over there because what he did is what he did. What you have to do is top what you just did. Make everything that you do so damn great that you know yourself. You're going to have to work hard and figure out what your next move is because the last one was so cold that you're going to have a hell of a time beating it. Then you become great. When you measure yourself by others, you're working very hard to be something that you're not. And that suits no one. That doesn't allow you to exercise who you are and show your own greatness and be the best that you can be. You lose yourself when you're trying to be somebody else. There's nobody better at being you than you. Those same measuring sticks have to be applied with black folks socially, the way we roll every single day. We have to be able to move about in this world and not worry about what them folks are doing. Worry about what you're doing. Take care of your business. And when you do that, you become great naturally. And everybody else, of course, everybody wants to be a part of something great. And the more they want to be a part of something great, the more they work toward becoming great themselves. We all help. Believe it or not, you help everybody else when you do the best you can for you, not for them. You don't do it for them. You do it for you. When I come on this show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to kick it with y'all and talk and do what I do, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to convey messages. And yes, I do this for y'all and anybody else that I can enlighten. But I'm enlightening myself as I go. I want y'all to understand every show I do, I learn something. That means I am a perpetual student. I'm a student of life. I'm a student of information. I'm a student constantly. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly picking up more information. And when I get information, I think it is a hell of a thing to be able to share it with everybody else. I enjoy it. So I try to set a bar for me. And every time I try to set that bar, I try to make it better the next time around. And I'm constantly doing that. And I'm going to continue to do that until, the man upstairs put the lights out. So as far as, we're dealing with the Negro leagues, the bar was set very, very high. And in fact, how many times have we been around people, or some of us do it, some of us don't, but how many times have you seen people start socializing in particular circles and they had to dumb themselves down in order to participate? I feel like many of the men who decided to leave the Negro League to go play Major League Baseball kind of dumbed themselves down. They had to dumb themselves down in order to fit in. Why? Because their greatness, see, one of the things you couldn't do during that time was outshine white folks. And black folks is good at one thing: outshining other people, especially when it comes to sports and entertainment. That's why some of the greatest entertainers that ever walked this planet are people of color. Some of the greatest athletes, the fastest man in the world, what he look like? Need I say more? The fact is, we spend and have spent time in this country as black people bowing our heads and dumbing ourselves down to be accepted socially, economically, physically, within our environments. Because if we wanted to get that money, especially, we had to do certain things in order to fit in. And I just feel like on some level, these men had to become a part of another environment in order to be a part of what was acceptable. And did that acceptance, what did it really mean? Should they have been true to themselves or been more worried about what white folks was going to say, or whether or not the white man was going to give them an opportunity to be a part of the white world? Because that's what it amounts to. And now suddenly, here we are. And like my man Marvin Freeman said earlier, they got pillaged. Here we are in 2020, and now these men are mostly dead and gone. Now you decide to give them their just due. Now they decide to give them the accolades that they deserved when they knew there were baseball players, pitchers, who won hundreds of games back to back to back. We knew there were pitchers nobody could hit. We knew there was men who could hit a ball so damn far, forget about it. They knew the deal. But now, just now, everything starts to change. Well, it ain't changing. It's a bone. They throwing another bone. And speaking of bones, I'm going to be real interested to see what happens moving forward in the next coming days. Y'all see my little inauguration countdown clock over there. 34 hours, 15 minutes. 34 days, 15 hours, 23 minutes, and 30 seconds. In that time, when that clock turns to zero, it's time to start holding people accountable. It's time for Joe Biden. See, I'm not, y'all, don't misunderstand me. I'm happy that we are at a place where there is a changing of the guard. It's time for Colt 45 to move on. It's time for Benedict Donald to move on. But the fact is, it's time to hold him accountable for everything that he said he was going to do. I wanted him in office because I didn't want that other fool in office. But the fact of the matter is, he still got work to do. And I don't want nobody thinking that just because he's there, that it's all gravy, because it ain't. Mr. Robinson, I see you. Thank you for checking in. That's my cousin right there, y'all. Kim Shelton, thank you for coming through. I see you. It's time. It's time to start holding him and many others accountable. It's time for all of these acceptances that we have made in the last 60, 70 years, all these things that have gone on that we've been passive toward. It's time for passivity to end. It's time for the quiet, docile Negro that looks down and steps off the sidewalk to end. Now, I'm going to be real interested to see how things play out the next time, because it is unfortunate that I have to say this. The next time a young black male is shot down by an overzealous cop doing way too much, and we have to deal with it under this administration. Now, these Republicans and others have gone all out of their way to talk about getting rid of unions and union this, and we don't like unions and union. But I don't see them reaching to get rid of the police union. And these police unions are partially what keeps so many things and so many people messed up. Now, when they say defund the police, that's part of what they mean. You got to get rid of these structures that make it okay for the barbarism and colossal miscarriages of justice that take place to end. It has to end. It has to stop. And I believe we're coming into a time where all of that needs to come to pass. So it's time to stop accepting every little thing that's thrown at us, the bones that get thrown our way. The fact that the Negro League is now suddenly, we're going to go ahead and give you black folks a chance. We're going to go ahead and make it so that, we got to recognize your accomplishments. Here's the facts, y'all. Whenever I do my shameless plug, y'all know I like to do my shameless plug. Get your copy of The Black Factor on bmforbes.com. But inside The Black Factor, I have a list in one of the chapters where I talk about a lot of the inventions and accomplishments of black folks that have taken place right here within the United States. I'm not even going to talk about around the world. I'm going to talk about right here in the United States. And the fact of the matter is that the true recognition that's due, they don't get. The fact that they should have been well paid for many of these things didn't happen. We have military heroes who have gone to war and fought just as hard and long as anybody else who did not get those Bronze Stars and those Purple Hearts and other things that they deserved because they were not white. See, we sit around and finally time comes and time passes where they decide, we'll go ahead and recognize you for this now. Finally, after all these years, we'll go ahead and give it to you now. It's no big deal now. Not now. There are a ton of things without which your life wouldn't be comfortable right now today. Simple things like the stoplight. That's just one of hundreds, maybe, matter of fact, thousands of examples. If tomorrow, while they decide to give us these little lightweight recognitions, right? If tomorrow, because you ever hear those, especially these groups now, they're so radical, and they say, you don't like it, you can leave the country. And they used to tell us, go back to Africa, and that sort of childish nonsense. Just one time when they say that, what would be interesting to me is if they said, yeah, you go back to Africa. And when you go, take everything that y'all did while you were here with you. Just want you to know, America would be in the Stone Age. It would be a third world country because there wouldn't have been no crops picked to begin with. This country wouldn't be what it is. And that's just surface what I'm talking about right now. I'll do a show one day where I get much deeper into those topics and into that subject matter. But my main goal for today was to make sure that we are clear. Thank you for recognizing our baseball greats, men who they know themselves would have run circles around anybody in any of their leagues. Thank you, finally. But at the same time, really? It's just, okay, whatever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut it short tonight. I want you all to not forget that on Friday is a very, very important show. Very important show. We will be discussing at length a second part of the show I did last week about mental health in the Black community. We're going to get deep. I have a special guest coming on, and she is going to talk about some of the things, and there's so many things that we overlook when it comes to Black folks, and when we talk about mental health. I had a really strange thought today in that regard, and I'm not going to share it right now, but I will on Friday. It's probably going to make some people upset, but I can't worry about that because the truth has to be dealt with, and I intend to deal with that at length on Friday. So I encourage all of you, and I don't want you to think for 1 second that a show that I do where mental health is concerned doesn't affect you, because everybody has family, everybody has friends, and some of us don't give a lot of thought to why some things take place and what needs to be done in order to assist some of our friends and family. And it doesn't need to be a situation where you finally realize you should have paid more attention when it's too late. Because in fact, this is a situation that we will be dealing with on Friday, that very specific part of it. Someone who waited too late to deal with a mental illness and to deal with some situations that they just ignored. So I encourage you not to ignore these situations and not to ignore this show, because it may very well save someone's life. Please don't miss it. I'm going to put a flyer out so that everyone will be aware that of the show and the guests and everything that's going to be going on. Don't forget, y'all, you can now catch the Black Factor on podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Don't make me lie. I can't even remember all of them. If there's a place where you can get podcasts, if you want to listen while you ride, it's probably there, because there's a bunch of them. All right, so we got that going on. Plus, you can always join us here live streaming, or you can watch any of the playbacks on YouTube. You can catch us on Twitch. You can catch us on Periscope, and you can catch me on Instagram. So please feel free to subscribe or friend me on any of those. Don't forget to hit your notification button, so when we do come live, it'll pop right up, and you'll be ready to, you ready to jump right in. You don't have to be late to the party. You can be there early. You can be on time, and don't forget to share the live. Don't forget to share the videos, and spread the word, spread the information. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate each and every one of you. I love y'all. Thank you so much, Black Factor family. I appreciate you for coming in and hanging out with a brother. I was having a rough day. Y'all just made it better. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my time. Love, peace, and chicken grease.